my mask and I ran away to get my mask.
Put your mask on, Ray. Okay, here's mine. And come over here, honey. Is this wild or what, you guys? Isn't that a cute couple right there?
Oh,
That's awesome.
probably exactly what I'm going to look like in 20, 30 years.
Yeah. Now, you'll see why we won't be wearing these. We can't even talk through them, you know?
Oh, my God.
But you guys look awesome.
And we have somebody else. Veronica's here. Hold on.
Veronica, okay, let her in.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Love it, love it, love it.
I did mine Friday, and I have it left in the car for tomorrow. I forgot about this tonight.
Oh, Veronica, how cute is that?
Oh, when you put it on
That's darling.
That's
Darling.
adorable. I love it.
I know.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Yeah.
I just want to post your costumes on our page. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, it's great. All right, so I'm just going to get right into this. Tonight, the guides will be answering your questions about a spiritual pit stop. This was published today in Linda's weekly guided insights. As I'm reading parts of the insight, you heard what I said there, right? We're doing a little change on you guys. Listen to the messages you will be getting. Feel what that feels like. Write your realizations into part 3 of my guided journey, because this is all guidance. After I finish reading today's insight, we will be taking your questions and comments. You will get to talk directly to your guides about what this insight triggered in your life. And by the way, thank you for those comments on this insight today, you guys. Your insights were great. Your comments were great about the insight. It helps other people who read the insight to better understand it, okay, from your perspective. Okay, so thank you for leaving the comment, and you guys know how this Zoom meeting works. And we've already opened the mic to you guys, so what I'm going to do today is, the guides suggested this. They said, Linda, don't read the entire insight. You're wearing these people out. It's like doing too good of a job sometimes, you know. So anyway, you guys read the insight. You know what this is about. And I'm just going to read the opening part of it, and then there's a few bullet points throughout it that I'll refer to as we're moving through it. But the guides want to hear you talk more. They want you guys to be more, you're the star of this show, okay? That's what they've always told us. So, and that's how we treat this. So I'm just going to read just the beginning part of this. So those who are watching us tonight that aren't interacting, but they're watching us on Facebook, they at least get the idea of what this insight is all about, all right? Okay, spiritual pit stop. Here's how a 15-minute spiritual pit stop will clear up your life. When a Formula One race car driver takes a pit stop, it's a high-speed coordinated process that is over in seconds. Everything the car needed to continue the race is attended to by a precision pit crew team who does one thing as quickly as possible. In seconds, the car and driver are ready to re-enter the race. A spiritual pit stop is not that quick or easy. When you take a spiritual pit stop, it is also attended to by a crack team of specialists, your spirit guides and angels. They are all specialists in what you need at the moment. So you guys read this insight today, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go ahead.
You know, sometimes I think people just don't have time to make a pit stop. I think that they're kind of going through their life and they're kind of gasping for air just to keep going, and they just don't think about stopping.
Yeah, here's what it's like. It's like letting this life push you around.
That's good.
It's like letting this life scare you, you know? It's like feeling like you're under the gun all the time and you're frantic. You have to get all this done in this condensed period of time or else, that type of thing. So it's really it's like trying to multitask, thinking that's going to get you ahead of what? Ahead of who? It's that's going to work when really it doesn't work like that. Multitasking, when you're doing that, pretty soon you feel like a machine, and you don't feel like you're part of the equation. You feel like you're just there like a robot, you know? It's just mechanical, and you're really not there. I mean, you're just forcing it. So when they're talking about a spiritual pit stop, Veronica, what does that mean to you?
That means, you know, just stopping everything and going inside and getting in touch with spirit again.
And breathing.
Yes, definitely breathing.
You know, and I have to say that this thing about the breath, when we take that breath, when we treat ourselves to that breath, it's like the biggest gift you can give yourself in that moment, okay? And it's in that moment where your guides reside. That's where they always are. So when you cut it all out and you stop stressing out and you let that moment become clear and you're present in that moment, that's it. I mean, that's all you need to do is just let it all go, you know? So, Joy.
Yeah.
What about that 15-minute? You know, you do the 39-minute.
Right.
However long it takes.
I know. So talk about yours, Joy.
Talk about the pit stops or the channeling.
Spiritual pit stop.
It's spiritual pit stop, and how it works when you do make that connection with your guides, whether it's your channeling process or you just let it come through or whatever. Just
okay. Because it's like the most routine thing that I'm giving myself right now. It's really super important, and you know, I do have my own little ritual that gets it all started. I have my incense and I hold a crystal, and I probably don't need any of those things at all, but it's a security blanket, and it is what puts me back on track each day because I ask the pertinent questions and I get the answers.
okay, now what Joy just talked about is using some tools that she has, that she's actually gone out and purchased with her heart. She was drawn to those things, right, Joy?
Yeah, the one crystal I use was handed down from my grandfather to my brother to myself, and the incense, yes, I like the Indian temple incense. It just makes me feel good.
You know, and that's what it's all about. It's about getting in that place where you're back to who you are, back to that feel-good place. And that's where it's, if everybody just let themselves have that feel-good place for 15 minutes a day without expecting anything, without knowing anything about spirit guides or angels, none of that, it would still work. That's why, Joy, that's why you said that. You probably don't need those things. You're right, you probably don't, but they feel good.
Yeah.
So if you were somebody who didn't really know how to connect with your guides, which is not the case, you do know how to do that now. But if you were somebody who didn't know, if you just did those feel-good things, you would bump into it. You would encounter that communication with your guidance.
Yeah. I feel like they're kind of like triggers too. You know, everything, my body, here's my incense. I'm going to start yawning soon. And, you know, once I start breathing, and it's a trigger. Okay, I am set. I'm ready.
That's a good point. So what that does for Joy, one thing I always talk about is I talk about breathing. And when I talk about breathing, I talk about grabbing that yawn breath. When you grab that yawn breath, you stretch out your upper shoulders and back, and stretch out your neck, and you release all the tension. And then all of a sudden, you can get that yawn breath. You feel brand new. You feel alive again, all right? And when that happens, that's what she meant by that yawn. Not the yawn where you're bored, but the yawn where you're really breathing right, all right? So because we have other people that watch this, you guys, this video, and they learn, and they love to watch us interact, and they like to hear what you guys are doing and how you're learning this, all right? Because they're just like you are. They're still working it out, you know? So that yawn breath is real important, and that instant triggers that moment for Joy to breathe, and then comes that yawn breath, and there she is in that present moment. All right.
That's her setup. I mean,
right.
She calls it her ritual. Okay, people go through a ritual to put yourself in a position to do something, to talk to your guides. I mean, you can also call it a routine.
That's what she called it.
A routine.
Right.
Okay. Well, I have a routine. I go through every night. I have a pillow routine. This pillow has to go here. This pillow has to go here. This one has to go under my knees.
That's right.
And that's all a ritual to relax and fall asleep.
And it works.
And it works.
Yeah, exactly. It does.
So rituals are not bad, or
No.
routines.
No, they make you feel good. They make you feel at ease.
Mm-hmm.
So and they trigger those things like Joy was talking about. They trigger those things every time. Just before we go into a session and we're working with a client, I start getting hot. I start feeling really warm. And then all of a sudden I start breathing. And sometimes the client will just look at me and go, oh. And I just go, this is a response to the guides being here. Your guides are here with us now. And I know it because I feel it. I feel real warm. And then I feel that breathing start. So it's like, as soon as I sit with the guides like this, with the talking board, with the client, it just starts. I don't have to say, I'm going to do this. It has a life of its own, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's what you've moved into, Joy. That's what you've got now. So, Nina.
Yes? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Nina.
What's your secrets, Nina, for that spiritual pit stop and connecting with your guides?
Well, first I have to come out of this deep void because I sleep very heavy. It's like between 4 and 6, I sleep real heavy. And so I have to come out of that. And also have my coffee and sit and read a little bit. And then I go through the steps and, do a little ritual, and then the board and writing.
Now, what is your ritual? What feels good to you?
I change it up sometimes. Sometimes I do chanting, or sometimes just prayers, and I change it up, whatever.
Yeah. She goes with the moment, what feels right.
Mm-hmm.
So how consistent have you been with your 15-minute spiritual pit stop?
I've been pretty good, and I'll doing it in the mornings, and sometimes I try to do it in the evenings if I'm not too tired.
Good, that's good. Are you remembering your dreams?
Yeah, last night I had a strange dream, and all I was folding.
Wait a minute, what do you call
20?
Wait.
Strange? No, nothing's ever strange, Nina, or
Wow. I can't figure out what it means, but
it's always interesting.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Some are more interesting than others.
Go ahead, Nina.
But I had folded 21 pair of pants.
Folded 21 pair of pants.
Wow.
And?
What is, and I don't remember anything else once I got done folding. Might as well work in a laundromat.
Yeah. Well, you know how you put your pants on and you're ready to go. You know that type of thing? That's like a metaphor for, you're ready. If you take your pants off, then that's a whole different action. But putting them on, 21, but you were folding 21 pair of pants, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's see what the guides say about that. That's interesting. How did this dream make you feel, Nina?
How did it make me feel? I don't know. I felt like I was someplace else. And so I woke up, I felt like kind of strange, wondering where I had been.
Where you had been before you folded those 21 pair of pants, right?
No, where was I when I was folding those 21 pair of pants?
So by the time you came out of the dream, that was your first question is where was I when I was doing this? Okay. Okay. Your spirit guides and angels are going to tell you what that really was. And here they go.
When you have dreams about clothing, it's a part of your identity. It's the identity you put on when you go out into the world.
It's a role you're playing.
A role, right. By folding so many pairs of pants, it's telling you to get ready. You're going to have multiple roles to play, and you have to have enough pants.
Okay, why 21?
3 weeks worth.
Why 3 weeks worth? You see how you ask the questions, you guys?
Interesting.
You will be going away for 3 weeks.
Where?
Away.
Oh, they're not going to tell you. All right.
I know I'm going to North Carolina for Thanksgiving.
Going for 3 weeks?
I was only planning on going 4 days.
Okay. Now, there's something about, instead of it being a skirt or a dress, they were, okay. And pants is more masculine, more masculine energy that you'll be playing a role at. And so there's something more, instead of it being real feminine, you're going to be more dominant,
assertive.
More assertive, right? Exactly. Yeah. So you're getting it all packed up, ready to go. And your question was, where was I?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
You were already there, and not only folding them, but taking them out and stacking them.
So you don't know where you were, but their answer to you is you were already there. Does that mean there now? She's already there?
And prepared.
Okay. So this is all a metaphor. This is symbolism speaking to you. And they don't want to get in the way of it. Did you write this dream in your journal?
Yes.
Good. Okay, good. Write it down, date it, and keep it. And as the month goes by, the weeks and the months go by, you're going to see how this shows up. All right?
I was supposed to go to Pittsburgh this weekend and all, but ended up canceling it. And then I wrote to my cousin who I was going to visit, and I said, had I known Trump was going there, I'd have hitched a ride, because she was just 15 minutes away from that synagogue. And she says, yeah, you would have gotten here real fast with all that hot air.
Just track this stuff and write those dreams down. Now, have you been remembering your dreams up until now?
A lot of times I do remember them, and I try to write them down, and I usually kind of color code them so it doesn't get mixed in with other things.
Okay, good. Yeah, so keep doing that and log what's going on. Spiritual pit stop. When these
I know things are going on. I just don't know.
There you go.
And I'm trying to keep positive. I have to keep positive and keep moving forward. It's just
there's no other way to be. You know? Okay.
Yeah.
If you think negative, it'll happen. Why would we? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you what the number 21 means in numerology.
Yeah.
And what?
What does 21 mean?
Do you know what it means, Kathy?
I have a angel numbers book.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's packed.
Kathy, go ahead.
It says your optimism is definitely warranted. The angels are working behind the scenes on your behalf right this very minute. You can help support the angels' work by staying positive, affirmations, and believing that your dreams are already manifesting.
Okay,
Thank
Nina,
you.
did you hear
Thank
what
you.
you said just before Kathy brought that up? You said, I've got to stay positive. It lined right up with what Kathy just read to you.
Optimism.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's confirmation, you know, that you are on the right track. You are right. You need to stay positive and don't let that negative stuff jump in there, you know? Yeah.
Plus 21 is 3 sevens. 7's a lucky number.
Yeah.
Seven's a lucky number, is it, Ray?
It is a lucky number. Always put 7.
7 is a spiritual number.
It is a spiritual number, absolutely.
What does 7 mean?
It's the most spiritual number from 1 to 9 in numerology that there is.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So you have it 3 times over. And you're going to enter into a time in your life when you're going to have to show strong masculine energy. Energy, like you said.
Yeah, I have to step it up a notch.
Right.
Pants.
And
So-
thank you for that, Kathy. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for
That was a confirmation. As soon as you said it, Nina.
that.
I mean, wearing the pants in the family is always indicator of the boss.
But absolutely. You're gonna start going that way and being more assertive, like Ray said. Yeah. And you're good with that, Nina. I know that you are.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a lot of choices. 21. You know. So
Well, I'll let you know.
yeah, well, I know you will, Nina. All right. So we covered each and every one of you guys.
Kathy?
No, Kathy. So Kathy, what about your spiritual pit stop? Your 15 minutes or more each day? How's that going and what's going on?
It's like, it's a refreshment. It's almost like a power nap to reboot your day.
I love that. That's good.
I took one of those today.
Yeah.
I made him go. And Ray's totally great after he does that, you know. It's amazing, 20 minutes or 15 minutes or a half hour, you know. And it varies, right, Kathy?
It does.
Yep. So it's like a power nap. Talk about that.
It just re-energizes and refortifies you and gets you ready for the rest of the day.
So you do this in the morning, right?
Most of the time it's in the morning. I haven't been very good this week. It's been a lot of distractions, and it's been right before I go to bed most of the time this week. So when your blog said that about doing it the same time every day, that really rang a bell for me. So I've got to get into the routine of doing it at the same time every day.
And what the guide said is they said to do it in the morning or in later in the day or in the evening, right? That's what they said. Yeah. And make it a routine.
The morning time is probably the best time for me because it's quieter around here, and I have, the house to myself early in the morning. So.
And how do you communicate with your guides in that spirit when you take that spiritual pit stop?
I start out with my breathing, and I always greet them the same way. Hello, my dear friends. How are you today? And
that's good.
That's how I start.
I love it. That's good. I love that. And continue.
And then sometimes I'll just say, what's the most important thing for me to know today?
Perfect.
And just let them tell me whatever I need to know.
And so what did they tell you today?
Yesterday, I wanted to ask you about this one. because it was a little bit odd. This is what came through. I said, what's the most important thing to know right now? And it was at 9/11 last night, which 9/11 is another numerology important number. This came through. I love only Grammy. I love only Grammy. And I said, and who is speaking? And it said Mason Porter. And that is my youngest daughter's oldest son that just turned 7 on the 27th. Is that odd that it would come through like it was him talking to me? I think it was his higher self, or?
Okay. Yeah. And we're going to let your guides tell you what happened there.
Okay.
Right? I have my own feeling about it, but we're going to let your guides talk to you because your guides know best, and here they go.
What you were doing is picking up on his vibrating frequency. He has felt this way for a long time. He likes you best.
You know, one thing about kids is they say it like they see it.
Yeah.
They don't play games. They just, and there it is.
Well, he visited me before he was born.
He what?
Came to me in a dream. He visited me before he was born.
Oh.
He came to me in a dream.
That's
Before
good.
And what happened in that dream?
It was this little curly haired, I thought it was a girl. I didn't even know my daughter was pregnant yet. But there was this little 2-year-old, beautiful curly hair with their back to me. And I told my daughter, I said, you're going to have a little boy. She said, no, I'm having a little boy. And I said, it can't be a little boy. I saw him. I saw the little girl in my dream. Well, one day I was watching him and he was standing with his back to me, and it was exactly what I saw in my dream. Exactly. He had the most beautiful curly hair. And it was the same silhouette that I saw in my dream.
Kathy, that is awesome.
That's so cool.
Isn't that the best? That is the best.
So we've always had a very close connection.
Yeah. And he's 7 now?
He just turned 7 on the 27th.
Turned 7. Wow.
7 on the 27th.
Yeah, that's interesting.
She's got 3 sevens. All these sevens popping up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting.
You know what's interesting? The analogy of the Formula One race car driver and a spiritual pit stop. Okay? Just dawned on me when you read it. What are they trying to do in a Formula One race? They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to be the fastest. But there's the difference. See, people in life say, well, I just want to get ahead. Well, it's like, who are you getting ahead of? But in a race, there's only a finite number of other cars that you have to get ahead of to win. But in life, there's not. I mean, if you work real hard and do something and get ahead of somebody else, that you see yourself, now I'm ahead of them, and now you look up in front of you and there's like a million people still ahead of you.
Right.
No matter how far you get ahead,
right. It's so big.
You'd never get ahead.
Yeah.
You'd never get to the front of the line.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but they try harder. They try harder and they try harder. So now I'm thinking, what would happen if the Formula One driver didn't stop for a pit stop? He just kept going and going and going till he got ahead of everybody. What would happen? Same thing would happen to a person.
Right.
They'd burn out.
Or the tires would fly off.
Yeah.
And they'd run out of gas, energy. They'd run out of energy. There's all those analogies.
Burnout. They call it burnout.
Right, burnout. The car would fail to perform.
Yeah, and so would the person.
Right.
They get to their 40s, they're trying to climb that corporate ladder, and they're working and working and working, and what happens? Executive burnout.
So what is your point?
You can't get ahead of anybody.
Right.
You gotta take the pit stop. You gotta change the oil. You gotta refill the tank. You gotta get your tires pumped up,
Yeah, that's where the quality of life, that's where you restore your life.
Right.
That's what they restore the car, and the driver gets a break from that intense drive, because when they're in those cars are vibrating and bam, bam. I mean, it's really not. Have you guys ever been in one of those?
It's very loud.
They're awful, and so and the stress and the tension and the, it's intense. So when you take that pit stop, you guys, in your life, the analogy is that you do take that break, like Kathy was talking about. It's like, how did you describe that, Kathy? You said it's like
a power nap.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
And although she's not taking a nap, it's such a relief to release all this stuff. And I mean, when she's talking about a power nap, when she takes that pit stop, she's really relaxing. She's giving it everything that she needs to give it, so that when she's done with that pit stop, she's really back to sanity, to take on the rest of this rat race,
Yes.
because that's what it is, you guys. You see it for what it is. I remember one time, I was probably, I'm going to say 21 years old, and I was building homes, and we had
21.
There you go. Who said that? Nina. Okay. So I was driving, hurrying. I had to get to the next job site where my other houses were being built, and I had all this responsibility. It was crazy, but things were really going well, and but it was pushing me real hard. Okay, and out of the blue sky, I all of a sudden projected out of my car, and I was looking down at myself driving amongst everybody else driving, and I saw myself in the rat's race. And I was like, it was life-changing when I experienced that. I saw what my guides saw in that instant. And then when I was back in the car, driving like I was, and in a hurry, and I was like, wow, this is not all there is. This is totally, I'm taking all this too seriously, and I do need to take that break and look at things out there and not look at it so close up, and so intense, because you can't see it when it's right in your face. When you take that pit stop, that's when you take a break from it and it gets out there, and then you can breathe and you can see it for what it is, right? Yeah. That's the whole point to taking this pit stop. You see things for what they are. You get back to what's really going on for 15 minutes or 39 minutes. I mean, you see it for what it is. And you take as long as you need. You use your crystals, whatever you need, your incense. I like incense. I like crystals. I like all that stuff. Whatever works. We have a crystal ball that we usually have on the table. For some reason, we haven't had it out. But Ray always has his hand. When we do a channeling session, Ray always plants his hand on the crystal. And I'll get it. I'll show you guys what it is. He loves it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is it right here.
Oh, wow.
So it's real big, and we usually put it right here, don't we, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing sessions, and Ray plants his hand on it just like that, and uses his other hand, and it's like it doesn't move. It's so big, So whatever works, you guys. Do what feels good to you. Do what makes you feel taken care of. You could even get in the bathtub and just go, it's my time. This is how I'm going to spend my pit stop today. I'm going to treat myself to a bubble bath. And I'm going to have my crystals around me, or, some nice music or whatever. I'm just going to cut out all this commotion, and I'm taking that pit stop like that. You're going to find that you're going to change it out every now and then, because energy's changing all the time. Energy moves. It doesn't stay in one spot. So it's always moving. But when you use your talking board and you take your spiritual pit stop, remember not to neglect your writing. Make sure that you do some writing in your journal. Even if you didn't bring anything through at that time, it just was just a communication. It was just an energy that you spent with your guides, all right? And you just spent that time with your guides. You could even go just like this and just let it be. Just, and if they want to say something to you, they will, they will. And just let it be. Just let both hands go. Just let yourself feel how it feels to be free. That's the whole point to that pit stop.
Plus, that's your logbook. Your journal's your logbook. I mean,
that's right.
A pit crew keeps a logbook.
That's right.
Everything that happened to the car.
Right.
Right down to
and the driver.
And the driver. They keep a logbook at every pit stop.
Or otherwise, they can't see what needs improving, what they need to watch out for next time, what they don't want to miss again, what gave them the advantage, everything.
They see things that are starting to fail, and they get worse and worse as the race goes on, so they know they have to adjust for that.
Or they see a performing car that's a superstar,
right.
And the only way they could catch it is if they watched it on a moment-to-moment basis, on a day-to-day basis in your life, right?
Right.
So you guys, how is your journaling going, your journal writing going?
Good.
Yeah.
What's going on? Tell.
I haven't gone back through to look for all the dots, the connections.
Right.
But I always write in here my dreams, if I can remember them, or whatever I channeled, or anything, any kind of insight that might come up.
Now, Kathy, how long have you been doing it? Can I have a tissue?
I've been journaling. For about a year and a half.
Okay.
I've only been doing it in this book a couple months.
For about a month, okay. So, in your book, have you been filling out the little boxes that says, or in the different parts where it says, how did this dream, or how did I
get this insight? Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I've been checking off the box.
Okay.
Those little boxes are so important because it's not only how you got the information, a dream or somebody talked to you and said something, a song you heard it from your guides telepathically, but the other important box is how did it make you feel?
So, Kathy, if we just took your journal and we tied together the feel part, how did it make me feel? How did it make me feel? How did it make me feel? Do you have your journal handy?
I do, but I'm not real good about writing down how it made me feel.
Okay. So which one do you tend to actually write about? I know Joy talks about the part where she says, what did she...
Yeah. What did I get from it?
Okay, what did she get from it? Okay. It's not what she got from it. What is it called?
What I realized.
What you realized. Right. Exactly. Okay. Which one do you tend to feel the most inclined to fill out of the questions? Kathy.
Looking back through my journal, I guess I do write down how it made me feel most of the time.
Okay, so let's start out and let's jump through it and just, how did it make you feel, number one, and say what that is, and then the next one, and then the next one, and let's see what we have here.
Okay.
Right, we're looking for the connection. We're tying them together. Go ahead.
I was amazed and felt blessed that my intuition was on point.
Mm-hmm.
Very clear after reflection. Power of prayer came through very quickly. Didn't write anything there or there. Enlightenment, freer and less burdened.
Less burdened, freer and less burdened. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking the board about Tigger because I was crying for him again, and they said that he would REN
That was the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I that's what I wrote. I didn't write how it made me feel. That's what I wrote there.
And it was just REN, that was it?
REN, yes. I figured out that might mean reincarnate early November. Because I have a black cat that's been hanging around that was carrying kittens, and I thought maybe that's what they meant. I didn't.
That's a gift.
Wouldn't that be great?
Kittens.
Yes.
Ray loves it.
The only thing more fun than a kitten is 5 kittens.
What am I going to do with him? Oh my God. I'm going, no, Ray, no more.
But you can't give them names. Just remember that. You can't give them names. You have to give them numbers. Because once you give them a name, they're yours.
Mm-hmm.
And what else, Kathy?
Amazed, grateful for the message and the knowledge. They're always giving me ideas. It's all guidance.
Right.
That's about it.
Okay, so Kathy, the way she moves through it, okay, you had a dream last night.
I did?
You remember me telling me about it?
No, I don't. I forgot it already.
Okay.
What was it?
I don't know. I forgot it too. See what happens when you don't write it down. Okay. And you're some kind of teacher, Ray. You
I guess,
But Ray always remembers how his dreams make him feel.
Because we talk about it right away.
Yeah, I purge him. I purge those dreams out of him. I had a dream that, what was that? Yeah. The whole beauty to these dreams, you guys, is to get what the dream message is.
Yes.
That's why you have the dream. It's where your guides sneak up on you because you are not listening. Okay, so here's what happened to me 2 days ago. I tell Ray, I had this dream, and I said, it was like screaming at me. And it was about, we told you guys that we've been through a lot of stuff in the last month and a half or so, big changes, awesome outcomes though. The changes were so perfect and
timing was perfect.
Timing was amazing, but it really was stressful and it took all our energy. It was crazy what it took out of us, all right, both of us. And I had this dream about being so tired. They said, here's what they said.
You wrote it down.
They said, you will no longer be reading the entire insight. They're falling asleep, Linda. They're tired. All right. I love these guys. Don't you love them? And they said, you're going to just read the beginning part, and then you're going to start. They're the star of the show. You're going to start asking them the questions, and we're going to get more interaction from everybody who attends. All right. So they said, and they tired me out in the dream. They took my low energy and pushed it in my face, like, see how tired you are, that type of thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so tired. I woke up and I told Ray this dream, I was like crippling tired, all right? And I just said, and he goes, well, are you ready to learn that lesson, Linda? And I said, yeah, I am.
Well, here's something you did that I hardly ever see you do. You were so tired, you suggested we take a day off Sunday.
I never do that. I literally never do it. And Ray's like going, fine.
Wow.
Thank God.
You would have rested on the 7th day.
So it's like, you guys, you know what? I love this project and I love you guys and I love everything we do so much that it's like, it's not work to me, But it gets to the point that even if you love what you're doing, you can burn yourself out,
Need a pit stop.
Yeah.
So I wrote something down.
Perfect.
We were talking about the power naps and how you can recharge yourself.
That's Ray's pit stop.
That's me.
Yeah.
How do you know when the pit stop is working, when the power nap thing is working? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. I usually take a half hour power nap. In fact, I have a recording, an MP3 recording of a 30-minute hypnosis power nap where the guy puts you to sleep like within 2 minutes and wakes you up 30 minutes later, and your eyes pop open and you can't believe how good you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I don't listen to that, I think the gauge is, how do you know when you've had a great power nap, is when you wake up, it's the middle of the day, and you don't know where you are or what you're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went out, you were out cold.
Oh, yeah.
You were in it, you know. So the guides, they connect with you anytime you disengage from the rat race, you know.
Trying to get ahead.
So in this pit stop, they stopped me and they just, you're really tired, Linda. You're really tired, Linda. And I don't even know, you guys watched that video we did with that little mini training we did with Janine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see how tired I was in that video?
No.
A lot of energy.
Did you see how tired I was?
Didn't
Yeah.
notice it.
Okay.
No.
Who noticed it? No. Somebody said they noticed it. Who noticed?
No, I didn't notice it.
You guys, come on.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man. I've got my poker face working really good. But
that was a lot of energy.
well, it's not that, Ray.
Well,
It's that
it was that because when we started, there was a lot of energy with the three of us, okay?
Mhm.
And you started sweating right away.
I was already tired, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, even while what'll happen, you guys, as you move through this and you continue to make this connection, this 15-minute pit stop, 39 for Joy, with your guides. When you do that, however long you do that, raises a half hour, right? When we do that to recharge, you'll notice that your energy is going to start shifting and changing. Have any of you noticed that yet?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
I've been having episodes of where I almost pass out when I'm walking, which is different for me.
Okay, explain the sensation. What does it feel like? Woozy?
Yeah, like I almost feel like I'm usually just walking. I'm like, I'm going to be going down. I have that thought and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just stop here a second.
Right. You need to stop. I can tell you that from going through this many times in my life, that your energy is being amped up. You're being ramped up. And sometimes it hits you differently than it hits you at other times because, we're tired or we're not, I don't know. It hits you differently. All right.
It's the guides. I mean, did you think that's guidance coming through?
Well, I asked in the channeling thing if I was physically okay, and they said, yes, I was.
Right, you are.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's guidance. When you're pushing yourself so hard to do something that you're wearing yourself out, the guides will put obstacles in front of you in your path to slow you down. And if that means making you fall asleep or pass out, in mid step, that's going to get your attention.
Well, also, Joy, and I'll say this because I've experienced this so many times, is when that happens, it's time for you to pull back. You did pull back and sit down, right?
Well, I've been outside, yeah. And, it was, the last time it was dark, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I was walking my dog, and I thought, man, this, isn't the neighborhood I want to fall down in.
So what did you do?
Well, I just kind of stopped, and then the wave passed.
Okay, that's exactly right. And breathe, Joy, when that happens. And you will at times think, whoa, is there something wrong with me? Is there something going on here that medically that I need to know about? I've asked myself that, okay, when these things would happen. Or is that a hot flash? And over the years, I've learned that it's none of those things. It's just the energy of the guides is coming through so strongly that it just, we're in a physical body. It doesn't, it's them working with us and amping us up, getting us attuned to that energy. I've literally felt like there's been times when I didn't even know where I was. That's happened a lot.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden, I don't know where I am. If I'm in a dream, if I'm in this world, in this day life, where am I? I mean, it's like, okay, it's like I'm disoriented really a lot, okay? And it's a good thing I've got a good sound, rational mind. I'm real stable emotionally and mentally. I always have been. I've been always real sound with that. So I never thought I was losing it, you know? But I know people could think that if they weren't used to it, you know, you would think I would be used to it after a whole lifetime of this, but they keep coming through and pulling your energy up and pulling your energy up, because this is energy. It's not static. It's constantly moving, you know, and moving, you're moving with it and you're expanding with it. All right. Where it takes you is what's really interesting. Okay. And what you realize and what you're ready for and what you're able to do is amplified. So that's the beauty of this. But the shifting and the evolution of this is unlike anything you guys have experienced. You know? Have any other of you experienced what Joy was talking about, what I'm talking about?
I have.
Okay, talk about it.
I've experienced both the, I call it being, shoot, I can't even think of the word. Airheaded. When I get floaty, like I don't know where I am, what I'm, you know, missing my exit and stuff like that, because I'm just not totally in my body.
Right. You disengage with this world for a moment.
Yes. Right. So that's one. And I've also done what Joy, you know, just feel really dizzy headed and almost like I was going to pass out.
Right. You know, a lot of that would you be able to track that if you put it in your journal, because when those episodes happen, it may be something you ate or drank that day, so you could see a pattern eventually. Okay, when I eat this, I feel like this, but I never made the connection.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting with Ray. Okay, because this is my world. As you get amped up and you vibrate higher, that's what's going on. You're just vibrating higher and higher and higher as you move through this. And then what'll happen is certain foods or things you used to be able to drink or eat will not work for you anymore. Have you guys experienced any of that?
Yes.
That happened to us.
Yeah. What is it? What is it?
I am becoming a vegetarian. I've always eaten meat. I was raised on a farm, but it's kind of revolting to me now.
And Nina, did you have a comment on that?
I've been losing weight. I'm not as hungry as I was.
That's real common.
Yeah, I haven't given up meat, but it sure sweets and all don't appeal to me.
Yeah, cutting out the sweets and the sugar will really lose weight quickly.
But she's not trying to lose weight. She's lost her appetite for it, right?
Well, the sugar is what puts the pounds on.
But
that's one thing I have noticed is that it's like the energy has been real thick lately. And
what does she call it?
Thick energy.
We're losing your sound, your audio.
We're losing your audio there.
Oh, maybe I need to go to somebody else and come back to me.
Okay.
Joy, what kind of changes have you noticed in your diet? Have you noticed any yet?
Well, no, because my son and I we're on Atkins diet now and have been through this process. So, yes, we had a drastic change. We haven't had any sugar for 2 months now. And,
So you said no, but yes, you have.
Yes, we chose to do this, and we're both losing weight, and we're happy about that because we want to be healthy.
And what that does is that's another way that your energy goes up. You just have more energy, Veronica.
Yes.
Have you noticed anything like that?
Yeah. The main thing that I've noticed, actually, I want to back up a little bit on what's happening for me, like kind of overall. A lot of times I'm still getting quote unquote just letters, and that don't necessarily make sense to me when I do the board.
Right.
But I was looking through my book, and I think it's about half the time, so 50-50, and might even be in one session 50-50, it will mean, half of the stuff will mean something and be a message, and then actually make sense later, or make me feel good, or like, oh wow, that's a profound truth, or whatever.
Right.
About 50%. And then I know, but I tend to, and I get that people do this, like we look like, why isn't it working for me? No. So that's my general self-talk about it when I get just letters. And even yesterday, because I had watched your training with Janine, and you had said to, be bossy, so to speak.
Right.
So I said to the guys, I said, when I was just getting letters, I said, use your words, use words. I need you to use words. And they said, okay. which are letters, right?
Okay. Right. You heard what I said in that session with her, that when you ask for words, instead of spelling it out one character at a time, when you ask for the word just to come through, that it is, their translation of what you're asking for is telepathy.
And I love telepathy. In fact, many times over the years, I always think, why can't we just be telepathic? I hate to have to explain things. I mean, I get things, I know things, and people articulate them, and I'm like, exactly, that's what I know, but I can't say it, and stuff like that.
Okay, you said it right there, Veronica. In fact, I was going to get on you for it tonight. All right.
What?
And here I go. You said that you just needed to say it. That is where you're getting hung up. You're not comfortable with just saying it, whatever it is. Just say it. That's what's holding you back. See, you're conservative. You're careful. You're listening more than you're verbalizing.
Right.
But you need to verbalize more. You need to take, I'm going to call it risk, because to you, it's a risk to say it, all right? But now Joy, she doesn't see that as a risk at all. And Kathy and Nina doesn't see that as a risk. Nina, sometimes a little bit more, but Veronica, you see it more, you're more conservative, and it's holding you back. So it's like saying, I want telepathy. I want to speed this up. But at the same time, you've got a lid on it because you're playing it safe,
Well, when your guys see you, it's a reflection. What they give you is a reflection of what you give other people.
Right.
If you want powerful communication from your guys, you got to give powerful communication to other people.
Right. You've got to practice it. You've got to do it.
You can't hold back.
Right. So you can't worry, and here it comes. You can't worry about what somebody is going to think about you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I remember when I got divorced the first time, and we were really well known. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh my God!" We were superstars in the business. All right. And so I said, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" I mean, these people have us on a pedestal, and we're getting divorced. Holy cow! So you know what I did? Crazy me. And it worked out really good too. It was perfect. I put the dirt on the street before anybody else could.
She told everybody.
I told them all. Yep. I said, yep, we're getting divorced. Why are you getting divorced? And I told them why. I took away all the good stuff. the drama,
All the things
the
they could make up.
gossip.
Yeah.
I took away everything that I could be concerned about them saying about me. I said it all before they had a chance. So there was no fuel in it. They just went on to someone else to find out, to do that, to find out, to get the scoop on someone else. And just, I was no fun. My story was already exhausted,
Yeah, they said, well, she already told us that.
Yeah. There was no thrill in it. So that's how I look at it. Just say it, put it out there first, be the first one to say it and put it out. And then if somebody has something to say, I got to tell you that when you free yourself enough to just say it, what'll happen when somebody makes a comment or something, a remark or whatever, what comes next will come through you and not from you.
Right.
It will be so brilliant when it comes out. Just like that. Because you already took that chance. Your guides have you. They've got your back. And you're there to answer that snide remark or that offensive,
comment.
Yeah. I mean,
You'll find yourself saying things that you would have never said.
You need to do it.
A year ago.
You need to take that.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you start to do that, Veronica, what's going to happen when you do your channeling? It's just going to work better. When you're writing, it's just going to show up better. It's going to be cleaner, clearer, faster. It's going to be everything you're asking for.
Great.
Yeah, it was the same for me when I was learning. When she was teaching me at the beginning, all I got was letters. And, the letters didn't even make sense sometimes. But then I started to get words. I started to hear words. Well, I get a couple letters and I hear the word. And then I get a phrase. And then I get a sentence.
Yeah.
And pretty soon they'll just download, all kinds of information to you telepathically.
Here's something else I want you guys to be aware of. If you guys are confronted, backed in a corner, whatever, and you feel like you need to cover up, you need to make something up, okay, to protect yourself, to lie, that's what it is. You need to write that, whatever you did, you need to write it in your journal in part 3. You need to tell yourself what you're doing so you can then look at it, track it, and stop it. Because when we do that, when we kind of fudge the truth or we, tell a little white lie or we say something we think they want to hear or we cover up, we're covering up, all right? What we do is it's equal to our ability to have that communication bridge to our guides. When we do that and we play that out in our day-to-day life, we limit that communication with our guides. We're fogged over. We're not realistic. We're not authentic. Okay. And how do you do this with your guides? You practice it with everybody else in your life.
Okay.
Maybe they can never tell you something they want you to hear, what they think you want to hear. So you shouldn't do it to other people.
But
the thing I need to get over is I worry about, so I'm just saying it out loud, maybe this will help me, but I worry about hurting people's feelings by just saying whatever.
Okay, perfect, Veronica.
Yeah.
Joy, how do you deal with that when you feel that?
I feel the same way as she does, and I may not say something if I think it's going to hurt their feelings. I may just hold back on that particular thing. My friend had a webinar thing on, and she's an animal communicator, and I asked a question about my son's family's cat, which is failing, and she came right out. I didn't let her know that they were all here watching, and she says, the cat is saying that it's neglected. And I'm like, oh, holy cow, let's turn this thing off, because I didn't want them to be hurt. But as I looked at it back later, yes, they neglect the cat.
Okay. This is the truth, you guys, okay? What Joy just shared, thank you, Joy. This is the truth. And what you're going to get real accustomed to is the truth coming out. When we do a coaching session with somebody, the truth comes screaming right out. the opening message, pow, it comes right out. You know why it comes out? Because we don't try to choke off the message. Okay? And that's what you're doing. You're choking it off. So how do you expect to communicate with your guides? You know how the guides always say that it's not always a respecter of your convenience? This is true. They come through and they just tell you what you need to know. You need to know that, you know? And the cat told you that, Joy, your family members that. They didn't tell it to you, but the cat was the one that she channeled that brought that message through.
Yes.
And you know how they say the truth hurts and you can't handle the truth and all this kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what's wrong with our world, you guys. Look what it's turned into. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So perfect example, Joy. And cut it out.
Well, it was. I heard my granddaughter say, you know, she's 11. Oh, he's saying that we neglect him, and I'm just like was mortified. But you know what? If everybody was just honest, nobody would get hurt by what other people said.
And they'd fix the problem. Oh my God, I'm neglecting the cat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be more conscious about my cat, and I'm gonna sit with my cat and hold my cat, and I'm not gonna neglect my cat. I got to learn how not to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the message is. The message is important. So,
It's to me it's easy when the guides are forever saying that I'm lazy. That must be their favorite word for me, because it comes out all the time. You know, how can I do this thing better? Well, if you weren't so lazy.
right. So now you guys are seeing how your day-to-day behavior with your fellow humans is restricting your ability to have this.
Here's my boy.
Oh, oh my gosh.
He looks like a Halloween cat.
He does.
He didn't even look real there.
Look at all these strange people.
What's his name, Nina?
Moggy.
What is his
Moggy.
Motty.
Madi.
Moggy.
Mov.
Mogg.
Moggy.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, there was an English couple that had him under their porch when he was a kitten, and they just said he's a moggy of a cat, and I didn't know what that meant or if it was some British term. And
I love that cat.
when I got ready to name him, I thought, I like Moggy.
He's beautiful.
Hi, Mommy.
How long?
He's ready to go.
How long have you had Moggy?
About 10 years now.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, he was just tiny as can be and stayed tiny for a longest time. And then he had a brother and he passed away. So when the other one passed away, this one started getting bigger, and I figured, oh, he can eat now.
That is interesting.
So I want to interrupt, Nina, because this is another thing that I never do. I do not feel comfortable interrupting, and that's part of communication. And I feel that that's like a really important thing as well. Like if we want to talk about how the guides are connecting to us versus our pets, which, you know, I love our pets and all that stuff, but it's okay to interrupt, right? And say, the other thing that's been happening to me is I've been getting vertigo.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like me.
What's that?
Like me.
Right. Just like Joy. And that's that energy shift you're going through. That spiritual shift.
The loss of balance.
And it's like you're morphing between worlds. You're
That's exactly how I feel.
It is neat. See,
Can I say something about not speaking your truth?
Yeah.
What did she just say?
She wants to speak.
Okay.
About not speaking your truth, not speaking up and saying what you feel. it's very important that you speak your truth, because if you stuff it and don't let it out, it will eventually cause dis-ease.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. That is
Right.
because it's stuck energy is what
Yes.
Kathy's talking about.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you have to let it out, even if you can say it with love. Just say it. Make sure you say it. And a good way to let it out and say it with love is, this is how I feel when this happens. So it puts it back on you. This is how this makes me feel when you do this, or whatever.
And the other person, I guarantee you, will most likely have a problem with that. All right?
Mhm.
Ain't that a bitch, okay? That's right. That is right. And that's their problem, you guys.
Yeah.
That's their problem. And what you're going to realize when you start feeling this, you deserve to be clear and honest, okay, is you're going to feel like, do you see my expression right now? It makes me mad when somebody tries to take my fire and snuff it out, okay?
Mhm.
You know what? That is not okay.
Yeah.
And Veronica, that's not okay. And I'll say this too, Veronica, for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you speak out of turn, or you might be, or the anger comes out because you've been holding it in for so long and your delivery isn't quite so eloquent,
Mm-hmm.
expect to do that while you're moving through this.
Right.
You're going to do that. When you see what you did, just go, okay, I see how I could improve on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And let it go and forgive the whole situation, because you're like the little baby who's learning to walk,
Yeah.
and you're kind of falling down still a little bit, bumping your knees and your
All right.
elbows, but you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But some people might go, she's an idiot, you know?
Yeah.
Well, expect them to be unconscious and unloving, and people are going to be this way, okay?
Right. Right.
But it's okay while you're gonna learn it. You're going to find your own way. You're gonna bump around a little bit.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, Veronica, you step out there and you start verbalizing. You start saying what you feel, and
Right.
you have something come through, you guys. If you're working with your talking board, or you're just with somebody, and the information comes through, I always, when that happens with me, I'll tell somebody, I go, if I just got a flood of information. It may not suit you. It may not be real timely for you, or you may not like it all. But if you want it, just let me know, and I'll tell you what it is. But otherwise, don't share it, because if you don't ask for permission, there's something about that where you ask for permission before you share that, what came through you. All right.
Right.
These people who come around you and they make you upset by what they say, and you don't want to ever tell them how you feel, and you stuff it down, but you all of a sudden start being straightforward with them and tell them the truth, and this is how it makes me feel, and I want you to stop that. What's going to happen? They're going to stop coming around.
Or they're going to be insulted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can tell you that.
Problem solved. They stop coming around.
Or they're insulted, and some of them will come back and go, you know what?
You were right.
You were right about that, and I'm sorry I did that.
Yeah.
I didn't see it until you brought it to my attention, but I really didn't see it. And occasionally, too bad that's the case. Occasionally, you'll run into somebody who comes back your way and goes, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that, but I didn't only do that to you, but I've been doing that in my life.
Yeah.
And occasionally you'll run across that. On the other occasions, people will realize that they've done it, but they'll be so ashamed that they won't say anything to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other occasions where they just don't care,
Yeah.
They'll continue to be themselves.
So what you have to get right with is, that's the way it's going to work. What is that saying that you say? Some people love you because...
some people love you for who you are. Some people love you for
what you can give them.
What you can do for them.
Right, do for them.
And the rest of them just don't like you.
So you know what? Get over it.
Yeah.
Because what that does, if you don't learn, here's what you need to learn. Here it is in one thought. Your guides, they never hold back. What they know, you need to know. They're not a respecter of your convenience. They know you can handle it. All right? So they never think, oh, I have to sugarcoat it. Oh, I can't see that. Oh, they never do that. They never do that. They want you to, they don't want you to suffer in this life. They want you to get right to the point, deal with it, get over it, whatever, evolve, raise your energy, become more than you were before you got here. And they want you to align with the universe, with the highest knowledge there is. All right? And that's how you do it. If you keep yourself stuck in this world where it's don't say this, don't do that, they might think this, they might think that, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you snuff yourself out. Isn't that amazing?
Authentic self.
What's that?
Be your authentic self.
You got to be. What's that one saying? I'm going to be my bad self.
Be your,
I mean that in a good way,
do your good stuff.
I'll be my bad self. And there's a lot of musicians that sing songs about stuff like that. And it's funny, but it's true. You know?
Absolutely.
So Veronica, of all of us here tonight, kablammy, you got that one.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guides never hold back. I mean, we've been doing coaching sessions together for how many years now?
Oh, since from the beginning.
Since the beginning. And then in the opening statement, before we know anything about the other person, we know their name and their phone number because we called them. But we don't know anything about them before they get a chance to ask a question, tell us anything about their life.
The guides come through
The guide
with
comes
opening
with an
message.
opening statement, and in 2 minutes, the guides don't hold back. They tell them exactly what they need to hear right now at this time of your life. This is the most important thing you need to take into consideration, and they're bawling their eyes out.
Because it's so true.
Isn't it? It is the truth.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And when was the last time anybody took the chance or the concern of being so honest with you? Right?
That's awesome.
I know. It's beautiful when somebody, you can imagine you have to tell somebody something, or they come to you and they need to know something. They know that you know these things now. You see, you guys, this vertigo, this shift in the energy, the change in the diet, that amping up of your energy, that's what's going on. You guys are all being prepared, okay? That's what's going on here. So it's time to raise the bar and really engage with this and walk this truth and be more aligned with your guides and how they are, okay? And don't be afraid what somebody's going to think of you or say. In the end, you know what's going to happen when you get real comfortable with it? They're going to respect you. They may not all like you, but they're going to know that you know. And the only way that you know is practicing what we're talking about, being true to yourself and not letting this life scare you so much where you recoil and you hide. That is not how you're going to learn to have this communication bridge to your guides. It is not the answer. It's the opposite direction.
Right. Totally.
People want to hear the truth, so give them the truth.
And that's why when you take your journal and you write in your journal about what happened to you that day, what happened, what you know happened. Not the frivolous stuff, but what really happened, what's under the hood, what happened in there, all right? You write that in there. You tell it like it happened. You tell the truth. Nobody's going to see this. This is your practice. This is how you learn to do this, all right? And you might even say, Sally, I know this is true with Sally, and I know it would help her if she knew it. And I know it, and here's what I know, okay? And then if you see Sally, and Sally doesn't deal with reality too well. Sally likes it sugar-coated. Sally, okay, you could just offer it to Sally. Sally, at some point, if you really want to get over, the pain you're in and the struggle you're in and the sadness you're in or the whatever, I've got some information that came through that might be helpful to you. And, here's another thing I always say, and I say this all the time, is if you want people to really get it, charge them for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will not value something they didn't pay for.
Right. That's exactly right.
There's no value on it. You didn't put a value on it. So at some point you'll be forced to charge for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sorry, but that's how it works. Okay. I don't mean sorry. I mean, you should be abundant. You should be. All right. But that's how you've got no choice but to be completely clean with the deal. All right.
Yeah.
And then when they come to you, they really did come to you for answers. They paid for it.
Yeah.
Now it's called reaching out for it. When they reach, they're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys are all ready.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Veronica and I live on opposite ends of the world, but or different coasts, whatever.
Right.
But we're both getting a similar message. And it's probably not the same person, but we're both getting Michael.
So what would be your question around that, Nina?
Do you see, I know when myself and all, the first time I heard Michael, I thought, oh, that's Archangel Michael. And then the second time was this hurricane. And then the third time, I met a Michael.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's let the guides say, let's see what they have to say about that. And another thing, when you're with a group of people like we are with you all,
Mm-hmm.
the clearer you guys are, the less you try to edit what's coming through and try to, sugarcoat it to deliver that message. The less you do that, the clearer these messages are. Because now we're not having to fight that closed off energy, that protection. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Will this message somehow be for Veronica as well?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll let them answer all that, Nina
Okay.
and Veronica, and here they go.
It's not important that both of you speak with a spirit named Michael. What's the interesting part is that if you both got the same message.
So what was the message? You guys, is there a same message?
No, there was no message.
Because these guides they're not like, assigned to one person.
Right.
Like you had a phone call. Was it in guided? You had a phone call one time from somebody in Texas when you lived where? California?
Yeah. And yeah, it happens. They know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that does happen. But we're talking about, okay, so when the point being is that it's not about the who it is, but what it is. All right? When we focus on a name, like Ray was just talking about, we're focusing on the wrong thing. You guys realize that? It's not important. They don't go by names anyway. They're energy. They're free. They don't need a name.
Mm.
They're a collective. They're brighter and higher than a name. A name is it's even every one of your names, okay, will dissipate when you're released from this world. It's just something to identify yourself in this density, this physical dimension. It's superficial. That's what I want to say.
Right.
It's superficial. It's energy. When you walk up to somebody and you can feel their energy, it tells you the truth about them. Their name has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So we get that all the time. People come to us, well, what's their name and their name and their name? It's really irrelevant. It doesn't have much value at all.
Yeah, they're a collective to begin with.
Right.
Most of the time, you're speaking with a collective.
Right. It's true.
A soul collective, energy collective.
Because you're one. See,
yeah.
That's what they really know. And that's what you guys are all learning, is that we're all one with this. If somebody takes something that the way that you are, or you have a question, that's one of the biggest ones for me, Veronica, that I noticed throughout my life. People would look at me and they'd go, God, you're stupid. They'd say that to me. They'd go, you don't get it, Linda, all the time. And you know why they said it to me? Because I always was the one that had the question. It was something going on, and I go, well, what about this? Well, you're stupid. Well, that doesn't answer my question. What's the answer to my question? If I thought I was stupid, that's the last thing I think I am. But that person doesn't have an answer for me. Something must be wrong with them. You know, they can't give me the answer. Okay, that's the way I always looked at it. Then they'd go, God, Linda, you don't get it. You know, it's been one of the biggest, all I can say to that and answer that with is thank you, I think, because I'm glad I don't get that response, that attitude, that way of looking at the world. I'm real glad I didn't get that. You know?
Yeah.
So if you're ever worried about what somebody's going to think about you, just remember the worst thing they could say or think about you is you are stupid. But you're far from stupid. That's a stupid answer to a simple question. If you think about it, you clean it all off. Your guide would never tell you that you're stupid ever.
Right.
Okay, so that's response is just as bad as it gets, you know. So what I'm doing, Veronica, is I'm throwing some nasty stuff at you, so that when somebody does behave as badly as they could possibly behave in this dense world, all right? This ignorance, that I can tell you that once you clear up and you're just honest and truthful and actually vulnerable to life, and you just let it flow, that when they say something like that, you'll know that you'll get the answer from your guides, just like that. And it'll be brilliant. If that person makes a fool of themselves by making a response like that, or just giving you that look, you know, kind of says it all. Then that person is really, they don't know. I mean, I could even say something like, that person's an idiot. Okay, but if I did that, I'm going into their muck and mire, and I muck and mire myself up. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it clean, and I just look at it like, wow, they're so far from themselves. They're the wrong person to ask that question. I will ask someone else. All right? But I won't stop, because I know that I need an answer to that question. And maybe the guides will just dump it down on me, and I'll get that answer. But I need the answer. I'm not gonna let somebody snide little attitude repress me.
Okay? Exactly.
Yeah. So all of you, the straighter the shooter that you guys are, the clearer you become, the more aligned that you are then with your guides. You start to see things like they do. And even if you're somebody totally tries to insult you or says something that makes you cringe like joy when they said you're neglecting your cat, you know, you won't feel that anymore. You'll just go, you know, they're neglecting their cat. But you'll look at it in a neutral way. Okay. Or God forbid the grandchild of any of the people, it's that youngest child that needs to hear it the most. You mean we've been neglecting the cat? Well, that's going to stop today. That's what the little kid would do.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't be afraid of the truth, you guys.
That's good. Don't be afraid of the truth.
Don't be afraid of it. And your pit stops, when you have your pit stops and you sit with your guides and you have that meeting, that most important meeting of the day with those guides, so they can come through and communicate with you. Now you're more aligned with them, because that's how they are. They know you can handle the truth. They know you can. And that's why they give you the truth.
Right on. This is so good.
Veronica, I was going to get you tonight on this because I don't know, it's about 40 minutes into it. I just felt that coming through. Veronica needs a shot of this. You know? And there's one of the insights. You could look through the blog posts that we have on the blogs for lindadeir.com.
Okay.
And you'll see one that says, it says, being heard. Help me with this, Ray.
You won't heal until you're heard.
Right. The healing starts when you're heard, and it's about being heard, okay? And so many people aren't heard. They're not even heard. Or they're so concerned that if they are heard, that they're going to be insulted or, you know,
I know.
not respected, you know, and to be heard is to be heard without being offended, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
okay, you guys, did you drop your pen, honey?
I dropped my pen.
Here, baby, you
I
can.
got another one.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like that one.
Oh, he doesn't like that one. Okay, so
Oh,
we're
that was
gonna.
just like it.
You guys did great tonight. You guys are getting this. You're getting more and more aligned with this whole thing. You feel it,
Mm-hmm.
Nina,
Yes, yes, yes.
Kathy,
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Joy?
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys are, and you're all helping each other. You're helping each other too. When you guys get together and you do your little sessions with each other, when you connect with Veronica's Zoom, and you work together, now you're not afraid of what might be said or come through. It's okay now, right?
Yeah.
Is that right, Joy?
I felt a little less focused with the activity being that first time, you know, and I did ask the guides. I said, well, Kathy would say 2 letters, and then boom, I would get the words for 2 letters, and I'm like, am I making this up? And what did they say? They said that that Kathy and I were getting the same message, but Nina was being given another message. But the whole idea was that there wouldn't be no comparison then. We wouldn't be comparing our answers one against the other because we were given something different to do. But that we weren't making it up. It was, we were actually being given the same thing. So I felt okay with that.
And
I felt like, because usually I don't get that much, but it seemed to flow.
wow,
And I just felt like it was the collective energy.
Yes.
you really did well with that collective energy, Nina. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Nina's answered the question that Veronica asked, and then the guide said to me that Kathy and we were answering questions that Veronica had been thinking about.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you guys are making this connection. It's powerful. It's more powerful than you think. You only all got together once. So it's just beginning to start, you know?
They work it together in the spring.
In the spring when we have our 2-day workshop, it's coming together. Yeah, that's going to happen. So Joy, are you going to come to the 2-day workshop?
Oh yeah, I would have come in the fall, but you know what? The guides told me not to.
Guys, you know what happened on that weekend? The weekend we had it planned? We were so busy, we couldn't have done it. We did not see it coming. We didn't, and so it was all meant to be. But have someone in mind, Joy, that you want to do this with, a partner that you want to do this with. So when you come, you come home with somebody that has the training. It's really important, all right? Because Kathy's going to come with somebody that she can do this with.
Well,
Veronica is going to.
We have a new client who.
And Janine's going to come.
We have a new client. What city do you live in, Joy, in Mississippi?
Right.
Hattiesburg.
Where's Pearl, Mississippi?
Well, I don't think it's that far away. I think it's south of Jackson.
We had a client today.
We have a client who's
a
there,
coaching client,
and she'll be new. Hopefully, she'll join the group. And
well, I'll be watching for her.
Yeah.
Because she asked where you live.
Oh, good.
I couldn't remember the name of that.
Yeah, I mean, I drive 2 hours to go up to my tribe in Jackson several times a month anyway.
So you'll figure that all out. But we do have somebody. That was interesting that she was from Mississippi.
Yeah,
that's very rare.
She said, where does she live?
You guys are rare in Mississippi.
Right.
The guides probably told me not to come because they knew it was going to be canceled anyway.
Yeah. I don't know how we could have done it with everything
we couldn't have.
No, we couldn't have. It was overwhelming.
We were busy that week.
So it's interesting how things work out. But in late spring, we're looking at the end of April, sometime in May, and here in Phoenix. So we'll keep you guys informed. But keep that in mind so that when it comes to that time, we can actually do it and book it. Okay. So I'm going to move on with November 6th. Now that's going to be after daylight savings time. We're going to be in, your clocks will be adjusted, but we're going to stay on Pacific time. Okay.
Right. It'll start at 6 o'clock Pacific,
right.
9 o'clock Eastern, just
right.
like they always do.
All year long.
Because we have to change back and forth here because
some states do. Some
we don't
states
do Arizona.
don't.
It doesn't do daylight savings time.
So we'll keep it. That's how we keep it simple. So next Tuesday, November 6th, watch or interact with us right here on Zoom. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights is where you will receive the link to join us to talk to your guides, to us, and to the group. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. To be published next Tuesday morning in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. The guides will be talking about what it feels like to be disconnected from your guides. You are always receiving guidance. Most people don't realize what guidance is or where it's coming from. It's easy to think that this guidance is just random thoughts popping into your head. This makes it easy to dismiss. However, if everything you are receiving is guidance, then why are you not recognizing it as such? And when they say that everything is guidance, they mean everything. That's why writing this stuff down in your journal, writing it down is so important, because not only will you maybe miss it if you don't write it down, but you will certainly forget it if you don't.
So it's not just the good things that you hear that you think is guidance.
No, it's what we talked about earlier. It's about they know you can handle the truth. They never sugarcoat the truth to you. So you write it all down, all right? You write down what looks like it's going to take some work, like what Ray and I had to go through about a month and a half ago. Yeah, all guidance just came screaming at us. And there was so much to do. It was overwhelming. But you know what? And we got it done. And I was literally tired for like 2 weeks after it was over. And still we're catching our breath from it. But you know what? It's really working out well. Way better than had we planned it ourselves.
Couldn't have planned it.
It was crazy. Everything that came together. There had to be 15 different things.
It just kind of opened up.
That we noticed.
Yeah.
That we noticed. Okay. I'm going to say that even we miss some of it. Okay. There's so much that comes through. So you'll hit those points in your life where all of a sudden there's an urgency. The guidance just shows up and it's time to move, or it's time to change your job, or it's time to get away from that person, get out of that relationship, or get into one. It's time to get out of that business deal or into one. Now is the time, because you guys, this guidance all has a shelf life. You guys know that now. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what next week is all about. We know that you guys will be there. All right. And the guides are going to close this session with their closing message about the spiritual pit stop. And here they go.
You can't keep running at top speed. It's just as important to take the pit stops. If you don't, you won't be able to finish the race. And do not be afraid of the truth. Be afraid that you won't be brave enough to speak it.
And that's going to stop, isn't it, Veronica?
Absolutely.
Right. Those days are over. And, I didn't expect to talk about, I'm just going to share this with you guys. The guidance, this is how it works. I didn't expect to be talking about that truth thing, about how it really works and how you behave in your day-to-day life. It has everything to do with your ability to have this clear communication with your guides. They're one and the same. They're locked together. It's your habits. Okay, it's that discipline you have. It's how you're true to yourself. That's what it really comes down to. That you have this connection to your guides, the strongest connection. I had no idea that this is what I was going to be talking about a great deal about tonight. That there's the guidance. They wanted to talk about it, and it came through. And what I talked about, it could have been risky. Veronica could have said, see you guys later, you know. I'm not ready to hear that right now. But you guys were all ready to hear that right now in some way, right?
And I apologize to Veronica if I interrupted and all too.
No need for that at all. In
No
fact,
way.
I love permission to interrupt, and I'm going to be interrupting more.
That's
You too. You do too. That's fine. That's part of it, right?
You know, Nina, be your bad self, okay? Be who you are. You be who you are. Every one of you. You just, this week, I want the world to be aware that you guys are out, and you're out and about, and you guys are being your bad
and
self.
speaking the truth.
And you guys
We got our witch's hat on.
you guys are for real, and the world better look out, because you're not dealing with this nonsense anymore. Where has it gotten us? Nowhere.
Exactly.
You got to speak the truth. Remember, here's a funny thing. How many years ago was it that we did the big psychic show in Las Vegas?
Oh man,
10 years ago?
probably.
Okay. So
We were the hit of the show.
Yeah,
Man.
we were the newbies on the block. We had never. All these people come to this
They
big show.
invited us, and they didn't expect what
They
we
invited
had.
us, and there's what, 100 different booths with psychics in this huge
At
auditorium.
least.
Yeah, at least 100. And we were stuck way in the back,
Shoved in a corner.
and we had lines halfway down the aisle waiting for people to get
Fighting.
to get a 10
They were
minute
fighting with each other.
10-minute or 15-minute reading. But what was funny, and we talked about this during the session tonight, is that in the opening statement, the guides come right through and tell them exactly
What they need to know.
They hit them right between the eyes
Right.
and right in their heart.
Right. It's so true. It vibrates. It's so real, and they know it.
It's
And
so-
we don't know them. How could we know this?
They just walk up, sign their name, sit down.
Boom.
And these people,
These two guys.
the two guys that were next to us in the booth were these famous.
The one guy was a
Los-
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
He was,
A psychologist and a famous numerologist, and they were both from L.A.
and authors.
and authors from L.A. And they had 3 or 4 people waiting. We had 15 people in line all the time.
You were all walking away crying.
Right, and they came over to us after it closed the first day, and the guy says to her, "What are you saying to those people? They're all sitting there bawling their eyes out."
So you know what? Case in point, you guys, when they pay for it, they're reaching for it. They're ready. You know. Otherwise, when you get this coming through, you're going to get it coming through. Always, if you feel like you want to, maybe help them out, always ask permission first and let them come to you. Let them reach out to you. All right. And if no matter which way it goes, write it down in here, because this is keeping track of how you're doing in the truth department. All right. Your guides, the guides always say this one thing. They say, "We are truth and love." And they say truth and love are the same thing. It's intense. It's powerful. But when you really get your head around this, you realize that is the truth. To love